Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome to a special edition. It's special in a lot of ways. Special edition of the post-game show, the knee-jerk reaction show that I typically host by myself, but you're in luck. Tonight, I'm joined by my usual co-host, Lance Williams. He normally doesn't do this show, but for some reason he wanted to do it. I'm not going to turn him down, but he's decided to show his face. He said he would show his face when we got to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're just shy of 300. Lance, I want to know your knee jerk reaction to the game that was. It was super weird. You got your Color Rush jersey on, and now let us know what you think.
Well, the reason I'm showing my face is because I am Lance Color Rush Williams. So I have to show the Color Rush jersey. And them scoring 40 points is about as rare as, or maybe as difficult as us getting to 1,000. So, maybe 40 is 1,000. So that's why you see my face. And, after that, I'm going 0 dark 30. But man, this was an absolute weird game. But I just had to get on the show, man. I never thought they were going to score 40 points in a game, five sacks, four interceptions. I just had to call in. It just felt like thing that I said on Wednesday, and just forget that I said it.
Yeah, I mean, I said I could see you maybe breaking out, but I just said that the breakout would be about 27-17. I got the 17 right, but other than that, here's what I wanted to talk about though. I mean, yeah, the offensive output was good in the end, and the defense got turnovers. They had 4 turnovers and they sacked Marietta. We talked about this before we went on air 5 times. I cannot remember a time, and I've been watching the Steelers for a long time, not as long as you, but I've been watching for a long time. A game where it literally was the tale of two completely different teams. You're talking about a team that I think fans were ready to boo them at Heinz Field. They had 3 straight 3-and-outs after their opening drive touchdown, and then after that, completely goes to crap. They absolutely no way of moving the football. And then in the second half, after the defense gives up their third pass play of 60 or more yards in the last 2 games, everything settles in and the Steelers start going. What do you think was the catalyst? What turned things around in your opinion, Lance?
Well, we joked about it on Wednesday, but I guess it turns out that the no huddle is the magic cure all.
Mm-hmm.
They went no huddle. They did what you said, spread out a Dick LeBeau defense, go no huddle with a little bit of tempo. Be what the magic cure was because they couldn't block Tennessee effectively in the interior. Casey was doing work. So you spread those guys out, you get the ball out quickly, tempo, and I guess that's the magic.
If people are just tuning in for the first time, I mean, if you wouldn't know any better, you would think that we actually know what we're talking about. Because honestly, some of the stuff that we suggest they do and they do it and it works. I'm not saying that I know more than Todd Haley or anything like that, but just
You
coming on
might,
Twitter, yeah,
you might.
I might. You're right. I might. Just going on Twitter right now, Ben Roethlisberger, I guess, in the locker room was being interviewed by media, and he said that he gave a little speech at halftime, a little fiery, a little
Oh.
hellfire and brimstone speech. Lance, he was jacked up. He called everyone out. The defense came out and gave up a huge touchdown as a response. And
To his inspiring, exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
bet. I bet.
brother.
I bet. I'm just a quick aside here. I bet that if Roethlisberger did that, and I'm sure he did, I bet he's standing on the sidelines and he's watching that 75-yard bomb, and just thinking, "What the are you all doing?" And I didn't say it, but you know what I was thinking. I mean, I, oof, mine. I don't get it. This team
Well,
is so frustrating to me, Lance. You see the potential now. They put up 40 points. That's a pretty good defense. It's not an elite defense in any stretch of the imagination. They struggle in the pass defensive area. But you know what? The Steelers' offense, if they're clicking, there's not a defense that can stop them. That's New England. That's anybody. Kansas City. It's unbelievable. But the funny thing is, in the first half, you look at all the points they still left on the board. Those 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions, turn into 6 points. That's pathetic. Um, Go ahead, tell me what's on top of your head in regards to this
Well,
game.
first of all, to your point about Ben Roethlisberger, and at points in my life, I've been called a narcissist. So I'm going to give you the narcissist rules. So, being that I at one point was a narcissist, I will guarantee you that Ben Roethlisberger did make the speech. And you know why he made the speech? Is because he told you he made the speech. Now, if he didn't make the speech, and they didn't win, if he made the speech and they didn't win the game, he wouldn't have said that he made the speech. Because they won the game, he's going to mention it to you and take credit for that as well, to say that his Rudy speech was the thing that got them revved up and going, and that was the main catalyst and reason that they won the game. So that's that. The frustrating thing is they do leave stuff on the field and they don't play consistently through 4 quarters. This was their best game of the year, but there's still a little bit left on the bone. And there was still probably another 10 points out there. I mean, they could have scored 50 points in this game. And it worked out well. You win, you correct, you keep moving forward. But you're right, Jeff. This is the potential for this offense. It's limitless. If they're playing really good football, they can do it to anybody. The question is, can they and will they? And will this start becoming more consistent?
Well, I tell you this: if this Steelers offense and this coaching staff, mainly Todd Haley, don't go into this kind of mini bye week that they have now, where they get to sit back and watch the rest of Week 11 play out, we'll see the Patriots play the Raiders down in Mexico, and as they're planning for the next week's game, which is a Sunday night game against the Green Bay Packers, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and say, we're a no huddle team now. We're a no huddle team until we get a lead, and we need to just run the clock out, or in specific situations where we can huddle up that, an incompletion, player runs out of bounds. You know what I'm talking about. I don't understand what they're watching if they don't. And I don't understand why in the first half they come out, they run the no huddle with great success. They score a touchdown on the opening drive, and then they get away from it. And they never have any success outside of that. I'm not saying that every defense is the Titans defense. I'm saying that when the Steelers offense is in the no huddle and they have their personnel grouping that they like out there, and when I say that, I'm talking about Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, typically Martavis Bryant, and then you have Jesse James, and you got Le'Veon Bell back there, and that's a very versatile offensive unit. Um, you might change it up from time to time. We saw Martavis Bryant was not a part of that opening drive in terms of the no huddle. I don't think that was a punishment. I just think that's the way that they drew it up with the plays that they had designed and scripted. Um, I just think if they get away from the no huddle, then there is seriously something wrong with this coaching staff. Do you agree or disagree?
My only concern about running the no huddle often, or as your primary strategy in terms of your offense, is the fact that Ben is calling a lot of those plays, and I still think the focus of the offense still needs to be around Le'Veon Bell. And the question is, can they still keep it balanced if they run no huddle, or will Ben call his number too much, and the run pass mix kind of get out of whack, where it becomes 38-39 toss Ben, 17 run, 15 run Bell, and it's tipped back to Ben Roethlisberger. That's my only issue with them becoming an exclusive no huddle team.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I get. I just feel like this offense works well in the no huddle. I feel like they're a unit that seems to function well when there's less time to think. That sounds silly, but I honestly think this offense has sometimes they just outthink themselves. It's plain and simple. But let's talk about the defense quickly. This is not a long show. Just want to kind of recap things. But let's talk about the defense. This defense has been stifling at times, yet have been susceptible to the big play. We mentioned it earlier, 3 plays in the last 2 weeks. or the last 2 games, I should say, where they've given up a 60-yard or more touchdown pass. What do you think's going on? Is this personnel, meaning not having Joe Hayden, not having Mike Mitchell in this game, or is it more just not doing your job? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I think they've gotten hit with some good concepts. I think they've played pretty sound defense. That concept that they got hit with at the start of the half, that was a nice concept. I haven't watched coach's film, but I'm assuming that there was some sort of vertical route run against cover 4 to get that safety that's in between the numbers vacated, and then you run a post right on Sensabaugh, who had outside leverage. I mean, that's a perfect play call for that defense with no pressure. And sometimes that happens. Sensabaugh came back to make a solid play. Not overly concerned. I mean, I'm sure it's happening, but it's more. It's not physical where they're losing. They're kind of getting out schemed in some areas in a certain couple of places, and in the wrong situations, they're not getting pressure in that place. So it's not a physical thing. So I don't feel too bad about it. I feel worse if the corners were just getting run by. But sometimes guys are, teams are good. They scout you, they prepare, they do their jobs, and they hit you on some plays. My bigger concern, though, in the game was Delanie Walker and just how good Delanie Walker is. I mean, he's a fantastic player. And I'm thinking Gronkowski, Delanie, tight ends, the usage of the tight ends, because I'm thinking of the Patriots. I mean, that's been my focus in terms of how I think about this team for quite some time. And I'm just thinking about, the stuff against New England and being able to cover tight ends. But I think the defense is still okay because they're still getting pressure. And that's key.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but I think that the Steelers would have a different scheme for the Patriots. I think you wouldn't see. I think Ryan Shazier was spying Mariota on more plays than we thought. I
Yeah.
didn't go back and watch the film, but I think you're going to want Shazier on Gronkowski. Tom Brady's not the threat to run like Mariota is. Not that Tom Brady won't, and we'll talk about that as we get closer. Let's talk about the real serious stuff here, Lance, before we end the show. What were your thoughts on the sky cam? Because I got to be honest, I was checking our Twitter feed. It definitely took some getting used to. Now, I do like to watch the coach's film on the All 22 when you're watching the replay of the game. If you have NFL Game Pass, you know what I'm talking about. But what was your thoughts on just that unique perspective? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Because I liked some things of it. I'll give you real quick. I loved how you could hear more. There was the offsides play where you heard someone say, it sounded like Ben. He said, "Got him," and you heard it. That's really
right.
Another audible later, he said "dilly dilly" from the Bud Light.
Yes. The dilly dilly was great. The dilly dilly was absolutely great. Dilly dilly.
I love how you could really see plays unfold. You could see what the quarterback was seeing. You could see exactly the coverage, the zones, all that stuff. But I didn't like the lack of depth perception. You really didn't. I didn't get a feel for yards to gain in a lot of situations.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on the overall sky cam that was debuted on Thursday night?
I think what I appreciated was I think it illustrated just how fast plays are and just how fast quarterbacks have to make reads and decisions in terms of getting rid of the football. I mean, it's out quick. And I think it really just how small because even on coach's film, you don't really get a sense of how small the windows are. And he's thrown in cracks. I mean, those aren't even windows. I mean, those are cracks where the rain is barely getting in when it's a little cold. Those are cracks. And so you get an appreciation for it, and you have to really be quick and decisive with the football, because if you're a second late, it's an incompletion or an interception. The other thing is it reveals lazy quarterbacking. And we saw a little bit of that in the first half where he was glued and locked on guys. But I liked it. But before you make your next comment, Jeff, though, big up to the defense for the 5 sacks and the 4 picks. I think that's the first time, I think they said since 1984. Listeners, I'd be interested. I know some of you guys listening to the show probably know who got the sacks and who got the interceptions. I'm thinking Merriweather probably got the sacks in '84, probably all of them. I can't imagine who got the picks. Maybe Donnie Shell. I'm trying to think of who else would have gotten the picks. Though it'd be great to know who got those picks in that game, and I'm sure one of you guys out there knows it.
Yeah, I don't have time for that, but they can look it up. That's fine by me. But you know what? This is a short show. We don't like to run over. Lance and I are going to talk and figure out what we want to do this upcoming week in terms of date for our next show. I would like to think about Tuesday, and we'll see if that fits with Lance's schedule because Thanksgiving Thursday it's a family time for both of us. We'll take a look. We'll see what happens. Lance, I appreciate you coming on. Short notice thing. It was good to have another brain to kind of pick apart in terms of this game. You have any final thoughts before we go?
Dilly dilly, dilly dilly, dilly dilly.
There you go. Steelers win 8-2 atop the AFC North by a lot. And hey, that's a huge win for the Steelers in terms of the AFC race for the top seed and for head-to-head tiebreakers and all that good stuff. So we'll see you next time. Make sure you check out Behind the Steel Curtain for all your Pittsburgh Steelers needs. I'm Jeff Hartman, editor of that said website. See ya.